Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Penn and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be covering the Samsung S90D game bar menu and along with some recommended HDR calibration tips just to get you set up and running and generally how to think about setting it up or get it in the ballpark. So on your Samsung remote, there's going to be a plus or this a play and a pause icon. And if you press and hold that, it's going to be to the right of the home button. If you press and hold that, it brings up the game bar. Now, I'm going to start with game genre. There's standard, which is the standard. And these are, think of these like presets that Samsung has. So based off of what games that you're trying to play, if you're playing something like sports, things like that, or you can do some custom presets, you'll be able to dial in your individual profiles here. Um, and I like the way Samsung has the game bar actually set up. It's easily readable, it makes sense, and they know that a lot of people are going to be playing a variety of titles. So they have presets set up and you can make your own. Now I'm gonna hit original. Original is going to be a more calibrated look. This would be more so if you're using this television and if you're getting it professionally calibrated, or if you want more of a calibrated look. You see how the colors are more muted. To me, in my personal opinion, they're more flat. They don't stand out. They're not how I would want them to be in my setting. So I roll with standard. And this is my own custom settings as well. In the near future, I will be making a settings video and why I picked the settings the way that I did and what my thought process was. But as you can see, when I switched back from original to standard, the colors instantly popped out. It got that picture pop look to it. And I like the way that looks. Remember, when you purchase these televisions, it's all about the way you want them to look, not the way someone else wants them to look. All right. Now, there's something called virtual aim point. So this is pretty cool. If you go here, there's something called red 1, red 2, and these are essentially colors. And basically, if you need assistance, if you're playing like a first person shooter or a third person shooter, I would imagine that's what you would use virtual aim point for. I don't know anyone that uses it. I don't know any professional that uses something like this. But Samsung does have it included in their game bar in terms of their feature set. And it could be useful if you want to, like, I guess if you're practicing on a specific target or you want something just to be stationary, if you're trying to like really hone in and improve your aim when it comes to something, I could see how it could be beneficial to perhaps beginners. But people who are more advanced or people who've been doing this for a while, like myself, we just won't have a need for this. So I'll keep that off. Now this is cool. Samsung has something called screen ratio. So right now I'm in the default setting. It's 16:9, okay? And when you click on it, you have 21:9 and you have 32:9. In film terms, well, I'll show you what 21:9 is. You see it's changing screens, changing the screen ratio, and it's going to tell you to change the resolution. The first time you change the 21:9 screen ratio, set the PC display resolution to 2560 by 1080 or the other one. All right, so in film terms, this would be more cinemascope. You know, it got that film look to it. In game terms, this would be more of a ultra wide look on a 16:9 panel, if that makes sense. Some people choose to play their games this way, and Samsung does give you the option to do so. There's also 32:9. So it's always going to let you know it's changing that screen ratio from what you had it to this. And that's an even more widescreen look. So most of you won't do 3840 by 1080. Most of you will probably stick with 21 by 9 or the default 16 by 9, which it covers the entire screen. And majority of the titles that are releasing today have that 16 by 9 aspect ratio support. So this is what I'm going to be sticking with, but it does give you the option, but I'm sticking with 16 by 9. You know, if I wanted a ultra wide type of display, then I will have one. You know, that's how I look at that. But it's included in the TV. Now you have more settings here. You have game mode, which I have on, and especially if you're planning on using this for gaming primarily, you know, you can probably stick with auto or on. Just depends on your preferences. And I have all this stuff at default. You know, Game Picture Expert, HDR10 Plus Gaming, I have on basic. I have basic for that. And then let's see. I'm not in HDR at the moment. Oh no, I have HDR on. You can stick with HGIG. Let me see. Let me bring that game bar menu back up. You gotta allow certain things in the OS to go away before you trying to like play around with it. Game Picture Expert, Game HDR, you can set that to in accordance with the HGIG guideline. Optimal image quality is set for HDR games according to the content brightness information. So you can do basic. I imagine basic would be more in line with like how it should look organically. And then if you do advanced, that could implement or be a solution if you want like a more dynamic tone mapping solution, in which you see when I hit advanced, it got brighter and the colors got more saturated on my side. I'm not sure if you can see that actually in video, but that's how I looked at it. And then you have off. So this would be something that I'll experiment with and play with on my own to see what would be best suiting my needs for my experience. All right. Now, Game Motion Plus. So I've covered also the Samsung S90C Quantum Dot OLED on my platform, and I went over what Game Motion Plus is in those specific videos. The reason why it's grayed out in this video and currently is because I have G-Sync turned on. I have a variable refresh rate turned on the Windows side because there's a separate setting for that. I also have 144 Hertz enabled, and with Game Motion Plus, you don't need all of that on. VRR, G-Sync, all of that stuff has to be disabled before you can use like Game Motion Plus on this TV, whether you're in PC mode or in console mode. And what it's supposed to do in this case is that, let's say if you're on a console or if you have weaker PC hardware and your hardware that you currently have, it's not capable of giving you the performance or the frame rate that you think you should have. The game is a little bit underwhelming. So what you can do is that you can lock the game to a specific frame rate or the operating system, and then you can utilize your TV's hardware. Essentially, it's like a little bit of a hack to where you can turn a 30 frames per second game and make it feel like a 60 frames per second game. You're essentially doubling the performance without paying doubling the cost or spending more money. It's a real useful way to get better performance out of your television and your games if you don't have the capable hardware. I have a RTX 4090 build. I have no reason to use Game Motion Plus. When I use Game Motion Plus on my Samsung S90C, I was still gaming on the consoles, PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. This was before the Pro even came out for the PlayStation 5. So what I'm getting at is, as we advance and as we obtain more powerful hardware, certain features don't really become necessary or they become redundant. But it is a feature nonetheless. And if you're interested in seeing what Game Motion Plus does, I highly advise you to go on my channel, click on the search icon, and just type in Game Motion Plus. And I did content specifically on that. And you'll get the gist of what it does if I didn't explain it correctly in this segment of the video. All right, so there's sound output, TV speaker. So that's pretty straightforward. TV speaker, receiver, Bluetooth speaker. And then if you have like an ER connection, that show up here, sound bar or AVR, things like that. So right now I just have it there. And then you have a help guide. And then that is that. Just a help guide. All right, so I want to go into HDR. So what you want to do is go to Microsoft Store. This is I'm using Windows 11, by the way, okay? And you just want to do HDR. You want to look for the Windows HDR calibration tool. I already have it. Basically, this app lets you calibrate your HDR display to optimize it for HDR games, including auto HDR and other HDR content. All right, so that's all you want to do. Get that installed. All right, then you're going to want to open it. Want to open it here. And all right, so we're in Windows HDR calibration. You want to get started. So essentially the minimum luminance, you're going to want that. And if you're seeing a reflection, this is a glossy OLED screen. So you're seeing my computer, those fans over to the right side. OLEDs have perfect black. So you're going to want the darker, you want to drag this all the way over to the left side to where that's zero, all zeros. Now, here's the interesting part, the maximum luminance. I'm hearing that this is the same panel that's also in the LG C4. However, I'm getting some mixed results that it's an overall lower peak brightness. It may not even have, it may not even be pushing 700 nits in HDR, similar to what the C2 might have been doing back in 2022. I'm hearing mixed things, but when you're getting these 42-inch displays, you're not going to be after the highest HDR performance anyway. So for me, I think 700 is a sweet spot. It's safe. 680, sure. I've seen Windows report 500 nits, but Windows was wrong with the Hisense UAG. It was wrong with the LG. I'm talking about when you initially plug in your display to Windows, it sort of does an automatic detection based off of its current knowledge. And oftentimes Windows is wrong. I don't believe this display is 500 nits in HDR. It's definitely brighter than that. I've seen a report of 600. So to be on the safe side, I've seen 600, but I only seen 600 one time. And I'm going by my experience with the LG. You can do 600 or 700. That's going to be your preference, to be quite honest. Now, honestly, for the best accurate result, if you can get the actual equipment to test the highest nits on this TV, sure, or hire a professional calibrator. But in the 42-inch space, and this is a LG panel, 600 to 700 nits is going to be like the norm in this case. So I'm going to do 700. And listen, this can be wrong from an accuracy standpoint. I want to make that clear, because I'm not a professional calibrator. But how I would set up sets like these, I'll do some initial research, and you can see the SDR content, the HDR content, and then you have a slider less than default for saturation. You hit next, and then you do a profile and you hit finish. Hit OK, exit out. And then from there, you would actually pull up a game that you think will have a nice HDR look to it. And then you will go from there. Now, like I said, this isn't the best display offering from the Samsung S90D. This is mainly going to be used for productivity and some casual gaming here and there. I already have a home theater setup of my own. And hopefully that can give some more context for you guys, all right? So if you have any questions, comments, or even concerns, let me know down in the comment section. And until next time, peace out. Thank you for watching. Take care.